The E100 is the most played high-tier heavy in Blitz. It's a very fun vehicle, and it features two insanely strong guns. You have a lower alpha 460 alpha, which is able to sit at 2,800 effective damage per minute. And then you also have a much lower DPM, higher alpha gun that has 660 alpha, but only 2,200 damage per minute. Both of these guns feature their own advantages and disadvantages, and if played properly on the battlefield, you can be a menace with either option. In today's video, I'm not going to say which one is flat better or worse, but what I am going to do is showcase their different playstyles and capabilities on the battlefield, so you can make a decision for yourself. I'll also be sharing which I do personally like more, but at the end of the day, it's really down to what you not only A, do better in, but also enjoy more. If you enjoy higher alpha, then even if you're doing better with the lower alpha gun, maybe stick with the high alpha, and if you want that low alpha, drive an IS-7 or an AMX M4, you know, something along those lines. But let's see if we can get into a battle here. Not a good map for the E100, being mines. But the enemy lineup isn't awful. We can see that most of them are not necessarily hull-down tanks, so we might be okay here. Alright. Now, when you're on mines, you have to think of where you want to go. You got two options. It's either going town or it's going up the hill. The problem is, this is a German super heavy, and German super heavies are not good at taking the hill. Look at my turret. It's a big square. And because of that, it means that I don't really have any gun depression to work. But what I can do is I can poke this Progetto, load a gold shell, and slam him right in the turret. And this is where that high alpha does feel very nice, because you can just get these massive chunks out into your opponents. But now I gotta wait a while. I gotta wait still another 7 seconds before I get one shell loaded into my tank. That's a long time. And it obviously is something that you're gonna have to be very wary of when driving this vehicle. But there you go. Another nice shell into the enemy 263. Just in 2 shots, we've already dealt around 1,100 damage, which is pretty good. Looks like we got the Boschatian, who's going to try and cover as well. So we got to reload again, a couple more seconds, and now we have another shot. So let's see if this Progetto backs up. Indeed. And a nice 457 roll. Okay. So far, not too bad. 1,700 damage dealt. We're on the reload again. And the IS-7 does shoot our Boschatian, but not too big of a deal there. We're going to reload a teeny bit longer. Aiming on... Sag. 263 looked at us instead of the M5-yo that he was going for. So this is where the poor DPM is a bit unfortunate, right? You shoot once, and now you got to reload for 8 years to get another shell out. And it is something that can be a little bit boring for certain players, but... Again, that high alpha does mean that you can aim on a vehicle like this M103 and deal 667 damage there and just back up with it without ever having to worry, right? We are already up to 2,300 damage in this game, and in 8 more seconds we have another shell, which should put us over the 3,000 damage mark. So we just got to reload a teeny bit longer. Got the 100 in the back here, and there you go, 651. Just like that, we are up to 2,900 damage in this game, which is obviously pretty good stuff. So we only have to reload a little bit more, and then we'll be up to 3,600 damage in this game. So, right now, I think the best play is to push this M103. It's the easiest chunk of damage to be gotten. There you go, 711 damage. E100 is obviously on my tail as well, but because that vehicle's also running the 15 centimeter, it means that it's going to take that player a while to actually be able to damage me. Man, he really wants me. That E100's like, oh, I'm going to get you. Well, you can get me all you want, but I'm going to get you right back. Nice 305 heat shell into your turret. So, all that's left now are a 268 and a Hawk 12. We can already see the Hawk fighting the Boschatian, so that really leaves only one tank, which is the Object 268. So, we're going to reload here. We got a couple seconds left on our reload. And I would assume the 268's sitting somewhere right around this corner here. Oh, actually, the 268's further back than I expected. Okay. Well... Boschatian's fighting the Hawk, and we're just going to keep moving up. Hopefully that T100 LT doesn't get a huge farm off of this 268, and we're able to get some damage of our own in. Come on, keep on going, keep on going. Alright, T100's actually stopped. Boschatian's doing some blind shots. Just keep going. Oh, there you go. There's the enemy 268 aiming. And there you have it, a nice 700 damage shell. This is a pretty good game, as we can see. 4,700 damage dealt. Obviously places us top on the team. And, yeah, I mean, high alpha is always a nice thing, right? High alpha allows you to outtrade your opponents, and because this is a super heavy, it means that, let's say you get shot for a heat shell. Most people fire heat when, shooting at the 100, so let's say an E5 or that enemy M103 shoots me with a heat shell that does 340 damage. In return, I can shoot them back for a shell that does 660, and then I can back and cover, and they can't do anything until I poke again. So that is a big advantage for a vehicle like the E100, and that is just the high alpha trading potential. The downside is that your DPM is truly awful, and if there's a medium tank, or especially an autoloader that tries to rush you, it can be very hard to deal with that autoloading presence when, you have such a long reload. So now we arrive to the opposite style gun, and this is the high DPM. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it like that. That should be plenty of APCR. So this gun has around 2,800 damage per minute. That's a lot, especially for a super heavy. And it means that we can easily go up against even some of the highest DPM heavies, like a 113, Strids Von K, T95E6, and win if I were to trade shot for shot due to my increased health pool. So there are big advantages for the E100 in that regard, and it's really down to the fact of, would you rather be able to have that DPM potential, or would you rather have that holding potential? So we are on Ghost Factory. Up against us we have an Object 777, BZ68, Destiny. They have pretty good heavies for me to go up against because neither of them have premium, so penning my E100 is going to be at least a little bit of a struggle, but it also depends where our team goes. When you realize that I'm only 1 out of 6 other players, it's going to be very team dependent on, we can see our teams going down here. Then that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not a great thing either. So we're going to move up here, and we'll see exactly what happens. I see our VK45 and M103. I'm pretty sure that's the same M103 from last game because of the camo, and yeah, I'm not sure what's going on in that person's brain. Either way, we're going to move up here, and we're going to start off by going to this crossing up here. We have the Marat, and we also have the AMX-50B, who just decided to get into the battle. Oh, man. Sometimes teammates just... Alright, let's see. Is the T-30 right here? I think the T-30 is right here, and because of that, we're going to slam a shell directly into that player. Well, it doesn't really matter how much DPM we have, because I think this player's cooked either way. Yeah. See, now that's where the high alpha would have been nicer, because instead of dealing 460 damage to that player, we would have been able to deal 660, and not only that, but they would have still died either way. So there are definitely advantages where the high alpha comes into play. And I'm not going to say that there aren't. But there's also the, just DPM advantage this gun has. We've already dealt 2 shots into this Destiny, where I definitely would not have been able to do that with the higher alpha gun. And we're able to get a clearing shell as well. So that's definitely a big advantage there, right? Alright, let's reload again. We got a couple seconds left. I'm going to push the 777, because that's the tank right in front of me. So let's get a... okay. Unfortunately, while this tank is still very dangerous, at the end of the day, the gun is still... There you go. Easy clear to you. The gun is still a super heavy gun, and not the most accurate. It's definitely a lot better than the mouse gun, I'll say that, but accuracy-wise, still not the best. So, 50B's moving up here. 50B gets shot once, but obviously our 50B's an autoloader, which means he can ruin the entire fun of that XM66F. Alright, well, we're not doing too bad. We are up to 1,900 damage at this point. And I'm hoping that I can get a shell maybe into the WZ. There you go. Easy shot. And then I'm hoping maybe I can ram the BZ. There you go. 260. Not terrible. Let's turn for the E50 very, very briefly. Let's get a nice 413 into his tank. And now we can possibly get a shell into the enemy here. Hoping that the Ritter does not out-reload me. Yeah, he did. From the position I was at. Not a bad game, to be fair. We did 2,700, and I don't think that added in the RAM on the enemy BZ. So that actually placed us right up at around, 3,000 damage. So, you can definitely see both guns at work here. I'm pretty sure if I was running the 660 Alpha, I would not have been able to deal 3,000 damage in this game. And it's just because the DPM is not as high. I definitely would have had that first shot advantage, but the game is a steamroll. The entire enemy team died within the first 2.5 minutes of the game, right? So it really depends on what playstyle you're looking for. The major advantage, I would say, of the high alpha is two things. First of all, it has much better pen, 380 millimeters of heat pen versus the 327 APCR, right? 327 means that you're really going to struggle against heavily armored opponents, where 380 means you're not. So that's a big advantage. The HE is another advantage. Not only do you deal 1,020 damage with a penning HE shell, but you also have way better high explosive pen. The disadvantage is mainly down to the fact that all the gun values are worse. The aiming time, the dispersion, and the DPM all are flat worse. So it really depends. Would you rather be in a situation where you can outtrade your opponents and back into cover, or would you rather be in a situation where you can just simply have more damage per minute? I can tell you that in overall effectiveness, the DPM is probably better, but I do have many situations where the high alpha feels great. I mean, we had a 5,000 damage game, but honestly, if I was running high DPM, I might have even done more. So you can let me know your personal feelings, comments, and opinions. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.